It was sunset on October 31st, and Billy Hedgehog was watching for his friends while Sophie and Itsy Bitsy were putting on their Halloween costumes. Sophie and Itsy soon came into the living room fully dressed. It makes sense that Itsy chose to be Spider-Man this year, said Billy, looking them up and down. But why Vampirella? Because it's not Halloween without vampires, silly, said Sophie. Well, Rainbow and Princess will be here soon, said Billy. No telling what they'll be dressed up as. As if in answer, the front door swung open, and there stood Rainbow Bear and Princess Unicorn, with Luna the Hellhound and Susie Cogswell right behind them. Trick or treat, y'all, said the tomboy bear wearing a Ninja Turtle costume. Princess was dressed as Wonder Woman, while Luna and Susie were dressed as Sailor Moon and Evie Rose. Fantastic Vampirella costume, Sophie, said Luna. The Spider-Man costume on Itsy looks adorable, added Susie. Where's Hiroshi? Wondered Itsy. Wouldn't he be dressed as Sonic this year? Or Tuxedo Mask, for that matter? Said Sophie. Sure, she's got something else in mind for his haunted mansion. Said Rainbow. Yep. He phoned me about days ago, said Billy, unrolling a large piece of paper. Nevertheless, we need to adhere to the safety in numbers system and wear glow sticks as we follow this route I mapped out. Starting from home, we first head to Panda Ling's home clinic. And then afterwards proceed to Sue Lynn's place. After that, watching out for cars, especially near the roundabout and the 24/7. We bypass Miranda's. I'll explain why a little later. And head straight to Hiroshi's haunted mansion. Afterwards, we return home to sort out our goodies. And soon, they went out in single file, with Billy leading the way. For his costume had a feature some of them immediately became envious of. It's a good thing I added working lights to the breastplate, he said. I bet there's nothing you didn't think ahead for, said Sophie. Isn't that why you fell in love with him in the first place? Thought Luna. Of course, all Princess could think was, I knew I should have bought that glow-in-the-dark rope for my lasso. As they marched along, they failed to notice the full moon in the evening sky. They were also aware that it had a profound effect on one of Billy's neighbors. Ooh! Oh my! Said Sulan, clutching her solar plexus. Guess Mommy forgot to refill her wolfsbane prescription. See. Said El Fuerte. Well, this may be a buena noche or la transformación. I just hope you don't scare away the younger trick-or-treaters, thought Kailong. Meanwhile, the group had arrived at their first stop, only to find the house was empty. At least she left us a note, said Itzy. Billy took down the note and read it aloud. Attention trick-or-treaters. Can't give out candy this year. Have gone to help my nephew at haunted house. Panda Ling. Well, that's just peachy, y'all, said Rainbow. Rats, said Susie. What else could... She was interrupted by a sudden loud howl. Like the baying of a wolf. What in the name of Impsay was that? Asked Luna. Well, said Princess, either the Fuertes adopted a coyote, or... Sulin howled once again, even louder. It was really embarrassing for her. She was also beginning to snarl. I hope I don't scare the kids, she said, finally gaining control of herself and picking up the full candy bowl with thick paws. She then heard the doorbell. Well, here we go. Opening the front door, she found Billy and friends standing in a row with bags held up. Trick or treat, they sang in chorus. Seeing her friends and neighbors, Su Lin began to wag her tail. Oh, boy, am I glad to see you. She said, handing out armfuls of candy. Though you might be too old for these. We're never too old for free candy, said Sophie. But we are old enough to know the rules of safety and conduct. Added Billy. That's 24/7 across the street. Police officer Nick Wall was buying muffins and lattes, while his partner J. Hobbs continued safety watch at the roundabout. Few young trick-or-treaters, he said, but rather interesting costumes. One in particular was dressed as Vampirella. That's probably Billy and Sophie with little Itsy Bitsy, said Belinda Bat. The former goes for nostalgia, while the latter prefers sexy. As the group ventured towards Hiroshi's mansion, they heard wild laughter and saw a shrouded figure hunched over a bubbling cauldron. Double, double, twirl, and trouble, cackled the figure in a familiar accent. Frightened, the others huddled behind Billy, who waved at the apparition. Hey, Broomhilda, he said. What's cooking? Turns out it was Miranda McIntyre, dressed as a traditional Celtic witch. By the tingling of me thumbs, someone punny this way comes, she said. Be travellers ever bold, horrid sights ere 'twill be old. Steppeth forth and go right in, for darker horrors will soon begin. They had just started further up the garden path when Miranda called after them. You dropped your candy bags, she said. Oops, said Susie, rather embarrassed. Well, she's such a helpful hag, said Judy. Unlike old Grimhilda. You know, Judy, said Nick, I'd give a day's wages to see if there are any scary ghosts in there. The only screams so far were those of laughter, as the group, along with the Fortes, were tossing rubber chickens at the shield of Svengulshi. The raccoon TV horror host blocked the flying owl while making puns with replicas of Tombstone, Carwin, and the zombie puppet whose name escapes me. Boy, you'd think people come back from the dead, he said. You'd likely think I got renewed for another season. After a few more tosses, everyone ventured further in through the hallway. Suddenly, a drone flew over their heads, disguised as a wailing phantom. "Zoinks!" cried Sophie, ducking behind Billy. "Good one, Kazuna." And Susie were aware it was their well-paid alligator at the controls. "Dios mío," said El Fuerte. "It's the Fantasma." "Yeah, very convincing one at that," said Rainbow. Meanwhile, Sulin had finished giving out candy and decided to watch another year's worth of Halloween special reruns. She yawned as the opening theme for a Disney Halloween played. "I wonder how Mia Mori mascara night with the twins is going," she thought. In a hidden laboratory deep within the mansion, all had gathered to see mad scientist Dr. Frankenshee perform his latest experiment. Electrodes glowed with current above the huge motionless bulk that laid upon the table. Frankenshee cackled with anticipation. "Billy?" said Sophie, getting scared again. "It's all right, Sophie," assured Billy. Suddenly, there was movement from the bulk. And it rose up from the table as Frankenshee turned off his equipment. The bride of Frankenshee was born. "She's alive!" said Frankenshee gleefully. The bride looked around the lab at the sea of faces in a panic. "Where am I?" she wanted to say. Handling knows how to play a role, thought Luna. Sometimes too well. Not knowing what else to do, the bride let out a blood-curdling scream that scared everyone out, save for Billy. "Just what I expect from a newborn," he said, smiling. "You start your new life afraid and unable to discern everyone. A little later, when Billy caught up with the others, he found them filling their bags with candies from the bowls set out for them. "The Fuertes already filled up their bags," said Itsy. "So, what kept you?" asked Sophie. "I was helping Frankenshee comfort the bride," said Billy. "She was more scared of us than we were of her." It was soon time to go home, and Panda Ling led the way, having taken off her wig and makeup. "Thanks for playing along," she said. "Though I wasn't expecting such a reaction from Billy." "I've seen nearly all the Frankenstein movies," said Billy. I therefore feel the monsters just need understanding so as to learn to love and be loved. Aw, how sweet, said the girls. They must have a good time, looks like, said Nick. I'd imagine there's time for one more scare, said Judy. You know, the classic twist ending. When they entered Billy's house, everyone agreed to wait until morning to check their candy. And so, Rainbow and Princess went to spend the night in the spare bedroom, while Billy and Sophie and Itzy sat on the love seat. I think I'll go make a sandwich, said Billy. I sure could use a bite before bed. So could I, Billy, said Sophie. So could I. You guys actually thought she was gonna bite me. Happy Halloween, everyone.